Perfect. Zach, if you're there, can you please send me a text? Okay, perfect. Can you do me a favor, Zach, and chat? Let's see. How do I get the chat? Show chat chat. Show chat previews. Got it. If you can, Zach, send me a chat, please. I'm sure you can see it's on the right column. Test. You are fast. Good. What's on your mind? And then just, oh, damn, I messed that up. And just reply, please, so I can understand how it populates. Hello, Guy. Hello, Anthony.
How you doing, Ethan?
Good, thanks. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes till it starts. I could tell a
Hey,
joke.
good evening. Can you
Good,
hear me
thanks.
okay?
Yes, I can.
Good. I'm in a bar, so I'm not going to be chatting really, but I am listening and I'm here. I don't want to have full-blown conversation, but I can answer questions if needed.
Okay, right on. Sounds good. Okay, some more people. Great. Okay, I'll officially start at 6. Let's just give it 4 more minutes, please. Okay, there's Dean, great. I asked everyone to send a chat if you so desire, and that way we can utilize the chat function. Okay, I'll go ahead and start. No need to wait. This is the first official Zoom/podcast for Funner. I'm excited about it. We're going to go till 6:30. At the end of it, AI provides a transcript. I believe that it is going to be automatically emailed to everyone via however they signed up for this Zoom call. I believe it also includes a separate transcript of the chat. This Zoom is going to utilize, let me phrase that. I've muted everyone for the most part. I can unmute you. Just let me know. You can either send me a text, you can chat with me, or you can handshake. That will help me. Going forward, I'm going to have a moderator. Her name's Diane. She's on my intern team. She goes to UCSD. She's going to help with the moderating component of things. And also, we're going to do for Zoom number 2, what's called the webinar, excuse me. And that is simply a Zoom whereby certain people are on a panel and they can speak. That way, I can invite many, many, many people, but only a few people can talk, and that avoids everybody talking over each other. So that is the protocol of what's going to happen. If you want to chat me questions, like I just saw right there from iPhone 6, let's talk about share price. You chat me what you want to talk about, and I'll answer. Let me give a quick 2-minute talk, and then we'll get right to the questions. And I will unmute people if you want to talk, just let me know. So key points to note. I am the majority shareholder with roughly 60% of the shares because I'm the sole member of Control Block LLC. In addition, I have 500 million shares. I am also the sole board member. That is huge because those two in tandem allow me to do whatever I want legally. Add the component of CEO, and I simply write what I want done. Clearly, there's a lot of ethics involved and legality to keep everything in order. But the good thing is that no time is ever going to be wasted. Any ideas anyone has, email me. My cell phone number, 858-456-4011. Again, the email is ceo@funner.ai. Any way you want to contact me, I will always listen to your ideas. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Some things I can't exactly answer, for example, if somebody wants inside information. But for the most part, I'll do my best to answer honestly, transparently, and immediately. I hate waiting myself for things. I'm sure shareholders and investors also hate waiting. Last thing I'm going to say, I will be touching upon these subjects with the website and also Twitter, X. I'm getting a lot of development on the website. It's taken longer than planned, but my goal is massive communication constantly with an investors relations IR department, which is going to be an outlet for what is going on. I want to know every day what's going on with certain stocks, certain companies like the news. I'm sure you do also. I would like to get to that level where every day there's some sort of news, even if it's boring news, just something that Funner puts out. That will be the investors relations department. Then the path forward, I'm focused on doing this. Right now, we're doing the money raise under the 506C like CAT. That is simply for accredited investors. I know how to get people accredited and qualify in that manner. Accredited investors invest in the company. That investment gets them shares. There are roughly 9% of the available total outstanding shares, or 900 million shares available. I can make deals with people. Anything that's legal, let me know. I need money to get the company to the next level. We want to do some amazing things. That's all going to be coming to light very, very soon, like this upcoming week latest. And for the money raise, that's how we can immediately make money for the company, raise money for the company, sell the shares legally. It's all SEC registered. Next step would be, after we have a viable, this is exactly what we're doing, for example, with the licensing agreement, or we have a product, something. We want to do a regulation CF or regulation crowd fund. It is much more complex for a publicly traded company because there are SEC shares involved, but it's the same game. People can invest $50, $250, $25,000. There are a lot lower limits to the investor community, and it allows capital to be raised quickly. Investors get shares. That can all work very, very well. It's roughly $9,500, $10,000 between attorney's fees, SEC fees to get a listing live. That is a phenomenal price. I've done a ton of research on that. That will then be able to raise realistically $1.235 million. There's a lot that I have to say about that. Going forward, in summary, and I'll stop talking and answer questions. In summary, we want money to get to the next level, and that's going to segue into my answering this question. From iPhone 6, let's talk about the share price. It's up today, thank God, and there's pretty good volume. The share price needs to have much more consistency. It needs higher volume. It's going to be a direct correlation when Funner's exact steps and path forward are memorialized in writing. I should have that by this weekend with, this is what we are doing. Step 1, step 2, step 3. For a product, for any type of licensing agreement. We have talked with Surface Sunscreen, company up in Oceanside, about licensing. They have really good sales. That's one avenue. We recently started talking with ARG Group. They are looking to amalgamate several defense contractors, smaller companies under one umbrella, under their umbrella. We're talking about not so much a licensing agreement with them, but joining forces. So if anyone ever has a merger candidate or reverse merger, or just a general talk to this business, we want to fold them into Funner and generate revenue. Okay, any other questions? Let's unmute some people. I'll unmute people. If you don't want to talk, you don't need to talk. It's not a big deal. I'm asking you if you want to be unmuted. I can talk forever, especially since I'm drinking coffee. One thing I'd like to talk about on the share price, the reason that the share goes up is simply because people buy. What's good is that we've really held the 0.0002 basement, albeit it's very low, but people are either not selling because they're confident it's going to work, or they're generally, actually that's it. They're just confident it's going to work. We can get that share price. I can't promise anything, but as we know in the past days of George Morgan, the former CEO, and when he had something that was really a great idea, unfortunately, it was just an idea and basically not exactly true. The stock jumped all the way to 3 cents with the whole lithium mine and the Salton Sea. I will never do that. I will always be straight with you about what's going on in terms of the reality of the situation, where we stand numbers wise, where we stand with the time frame involved in everything. What I'm never going to do is put out something that will make the share price jump just to have the share price jump. That doesn't help anybody. It's unethical. It's just generally bad business. I'd rather have the stock just stay in the basement of 0.002, 0.0003 until we have a clear-cut trajectory and real progress. Because the next step, as I see it, is going to be around the 0.0005 to bid at 0.0005 and the ask at 0.0006. At that level, I have investor interest where people will really want to start kicking in investor funds, which brings me back to the idea of, actually, I wanted to talk about this. Here's a text. Find the next great developer, software engineer. Yes, we went down the foray of game apps, and that was an expensive, time-consuming process. I really like the whole app market. I have the structure for 4 actual apps. 3 are in the Google Play Store as we speak. One's an iOS app that's ready to go. The interns I brought in from UCSD, they're going to start to do an inventory of the digital components which Funner has. And those components, I'm very much hoping, are going to yield a real way to monetize those technology pieces. It's a sunk cost. The money's already been spent. That was, about 1.5 years and 2 years ago. It's a challenging world, the world of the apps. I'm not going to ignore the fact that they didn't go anywhere, but we have the apps, just never really tried to make them go anywhere. But I would love somebody, if they have any methods or vision on how to do that, let me know. We have 3 Android apps and 1 iOS app. They're built. 3 are in the store. The iOS app can be launched, but not a whole lot of money, maybe like $2,000 to integrate it into the iOS store. It could be a gateway to a lot of things. All right. Any other questions I can field right now? If not, let me talk about something that I think is really important, and that would be the actual path forward. Time is really been wasted with this company. I think that a lot of the issue has been lateral movements through the years. Let's remember the company came over from Canada back in 2005. It was a mining company, and then it made some headway, under George Morgan, but that just stalled. It just was a failure overall. No disrespect to the guy. So I've spent the last 2.5 years getting the company from the grave. I was in the expert market twice, getting it from the grave. We've had current financials and pink sheets current for better part of 2 years. A couple of hiccups, sure, but that's part of the learning curve. FYI, the OTC markets and their analysts, they are no nonsense. If everything is not perfect, they simply will not allow something to pass muster. So that's why sometimes the filings I've submitted have to be edited by our securities attorney, Fred Lair in Florida, great guy, and also the financials component of the disclosure statements. Very often, those get flagged with, you need to amend this, what about this? Lots of technical questions. That's really good because it truly provides transparency for the marketplace. With that in mind, the last couple of years has been spent just getting things to where they are now, where we have a pink sheets current company. That's huge. There's always talk of, well, it's a shell. It's a shell risk. You have Shell, the level above that is Shell risk. Level above that is no Shell whatsoever. We're at Shell risk. In order to remove Shell risk, what the method for removing Shell risk is really pretty straightforward. OTC Markets wants to see, I've been told roughly $100,000 in assets. Then they start to think the company is for real. Non-cash assets. The company, as of the last quarterly filing Q1, and mind you, Q2 is going to come out for August 15th, if not earlier. The Q1 filing showed that the company had 59,000 in non-cash assets. We got to get that number up to 100,000. I'm going to do my best. I haven't specifically looked at that number for this Q2 filing, but when that hits 100,000, that's when I can petition OTC to take a strong look and remove the Shell status. Removing the Shell status is important because it unrestricts shares. There's a sequence of events which needs to occur, but it starts the unrestriction of shares. And also, it looks a whole lot better for the stock in general. That's when institutions start to take a whiff of this stock. If anything, it will just help the momentum. So first and foremost, I'm really trying to get that Shell removed, and I'm pretty confident I can get it done with this next Q2 filing coming up. Okay, let's see. I believe we have another question for the chat. How's the UCSD team going? From Kevin in San Diego. Oh yeah, it was about the NS mergers. All right. Let's talk about the mergers component. If anybody ever has a merger candidate, just send them my way and we can evaluate them. A lot of times companies want to do a merger, but they either are heavily in debt or they don't really have anything. So it's like the blind leading the blind, whereby it doesn't help anybody. We need a company that actually has a product, has sales, has something. It can be an idea. An idea is fine, but that's what happens with the whole merger component. And then in terms of the marketplace, places like DealStream and S Mergers, to answer this question, yeah, those are great places, but unfortunately, there are a lot of charlatans there, and it's really a time-consuming, time-intensive process to shred through all that to find the good deals. The best way for the company to make progress is realistically to get the $10,000, have the attorney file the Form C like Charlie. That is what, it's a complex form which goes to the SEC for the regulation crowd fund. The regulation crowd fund with a small amount of money, like $3,000. So now we're in it for like $13,000. That can mass market to lots and lots and lots of smaller investors. And those $250, $500 add up quickly, very quickly, because this is not your standard crowd fund. This is a publicly traded company. It's post IPO. And that's what's key about this. Somebody that buys into a crowd fund or even the 506C money raise, they're getting post IPO. They're getting a publicly traded company, is not a private company. A lot of the challenge with the marketplace and the cap tables, the capitalization tables, I hear about them all the time. The capitalization table is irrelevant if it's a private company. It doesn't matter. It's a private company saying, we owe you the following shares. Good luck trying to collect on it. You want the publicly traded company where the publicly traded stock is liquid. It can be bought and sold. That's the advantage of the crowd fund, and that is also the advantage of any type of money raise, investors can participate in upside. Clearly, there's risk. They can participate in upside, and also their stocks liquid. There are restrictions granted, but it's a much, much better investment than, for me, than doing a crowdfunding and kind of hoping that a private company is going to eventually pay you back. Okay, let's see. We've got another question. Okay. From Dean. Hello, Dean. Brokers that sell symbols and or reverse mergers with clean financials for SPACs. Yes, I agree. That is a great place to look. Again, I'm very open to ideas. If somebody came to me and said, we want to buy the company, this is what we're offering, of course I'll consider that. A lot of the challenge is I can't legally put out a for sale sign in that manner. Our securities attorney has told me I would like to, of course, but if a company or someone were to mention something like that, then it's a whole different ball of wax. Then when people talk about buying a shell company, they throw around all different kinds of numbers. It's very similar to buying a used car. You get what you pay for. Just because you buy a car, there are a lot of components to it. Is the title clean? In California here, did it pass smog? Does it run, or will it start up and not, go down the block? Those are a lot of the issues with buying shells and mergers and any type of a special purpose acquisition company. So the good thing about Funner, and I stress this, is clean financials, been pink current for the most part, roughly 2+ years. Everything's up to date, all the financials. It's just boring right now. I admit it's boring because we need a product, a business revenue stream. So I'm open to ideas. I'm always willing to listen to people if you have an idea about that. I like the licensing component because it's really broad-based and it can allow multiple players to enter and participate in the stock ownership of Funner. That's beneficial to raising investor money. So we could have multiple companies under the Funner umbrella. It's an idea. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would merge in some fashion with one company which has existing revenues, product ideas, and go from there. That would be glorious. Mind you, the company did it before when it was Cuba Beverage. That was a success, except it unraveled. That company, from what I know, I talked with the individual who raised the money for it, a guy in San Diego. He raised about $500,000 for it. And then, unfortunately, that money was, for lack of a better word, ripped off, however you want to slice and dice it. But it can work. I'm not going to steal the money, trust me. So it can work to merge with the company, have a joint venture, however you want to term it, and get investor funds raised. That then keeps the momentum going. It propels things. At one point, Cuba Beverage had contracts with several companies, including Costco, and they had a small warehouse full of product, but it just never went to fruition for a whole host of reasons. But the idea is real basic. Product, idea, something that somebody or a company has. Funner uses that to generate revenue and also raise investor funds to improve that idea and that concept. Okay, what else to talk about? Anybody have anything else they want to add? Let me see. Oh yeah, offer a board seat. And adding a few shareholders. Okay. The stock structure is really quite open. And the beauty of this is because I control everything, I don't have to answer to 100 different people. There's one cook in the kitchen. That makes it a lot more malleable for making progress. So with that in mind, when I say I'm open to deals, that means I would gladly add somebody to a board seat if they were willing to. They don't necessarily have to want to do the work, but they would have to contribute in some manner. The easiest way to contribute is investment dollars. That helps the most. I'm also open to people taking any kind of a leadership role in the company. If they want to do some work, I could exchange shares for that. There are lots and lots of possibilities. The website's going to have more so detail on that and a mechanism for people to submit ideas and also to want to be able to input what they're trying to do in that fashion. In terms of actually adding a few shareholders knowledgeable on this process to aid me, yeah, I'd love to, absolutely. It does not have to be my way or the highway. I want ideas, I want help, I want all that. I've done a good job, taking this thing from the bottom of the ocean and making the ship sail. It's seaworthy, and now we need a place to sail to. We also need, I like to use the analogy, the inside the ship is barren. We need to put supplies in there, something that we can sell. So I'll maintain the ship. Just let's stock it with things. And where are we going to? Where's the ship sailing to? All right, let me see. Any other questions? If not, any other ideas? Let me see, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's touch upon this path forward. Right, good point. Keep the lights on. What's the burn rate of the company? It's not a lot. I don't make any money, so I don't pay myself, so there are no employees. Transfer agents, 500. By the way, this is all disclosed in the financials. If you ever want the breakdown, I can post that somewhere with a more delineated accounting of the expenses. In summary, it's off the top of my head, transfer agent, Colonial, they're invaluable. They've been in business since 81. They actually issue the shares and do a lot of, per se, escrow work. They're 500 a month for tons and tons of service. The securities attorney, he's 2,500 a month, but he's taking, I put him on hiatus for about 6 months till we can catch up with money. And we don't, yeah, we always need the guy, but he really realistically won't come into play till towards the end of the year. So the other big expense, which is not really a big expense, is the CPA Jack Runke. He helps with the financials on a quarterly basis. And the quarterly basis for him is roughly $1,500, so not a huge expense. It would be great to have a small budget to actually do some marketing. The UCSD interns can help massively with this because they're so tech and so social media oriented. Just a couple $100, even a week, I can put the word out to thousands and thousands of people. I'm not that tech savvy. I have a general idea of how to use it. It's just very time consuming. The Twitter is going decently, but again, Twitter's a full-time job for somebody, but it's a gold mine. You can reach tons and tons of people in that manner. I would love to have some marketing help. I would love to have, there's Nick Furris. I'd love to have some marketing help. I would love to have some marketing money to do marketing. That could all tie in perfectly to the regulation crowd fund, the Reg CF. Let's talk about the other expenses. That's really pretty much it. The legal woes, those are sunk expenses. Funner spent a couple $100,000 back in mostly 2022 for getting the stock from the expert market twice. And we had to do a new application to OTC markets for the change in control. All that's really, really expensive. You know, we got a lawsuit with George Sharp. That again, that was before my time. I did have the pleasure of going to court twice. That was fun. But the legal stuff, all those expensive fees, that's behind us. Now it's just maintenance. OTC markets is $7,000 a year for the annual fee. And that is a mandatory fee. You can't without, that's the cover charge to do this thing called the stock. Without paying that, you just, the stock doesn't trade. That's not a technical answer. That's a more broad-based answer, but that is the reality of the situation. Other than that, the expenses are, I mean, nothing. Rent, I have a small office that I rent for $400 a month. You know, rent's cheap now. So that's it. Cheap, cheap, cheap to keep this thing going. What we want the money for is to get it to the next level so that we can actually generate revenue. That would be huge. We want to generate revenue. Dean may still know what happened to George Sharp. Is he settled or is he still debt on the books? Technically, he's debt on the books, but I have talked with him. He's willing to negotiate. He was pissed off at the past people involved with the company. He just felt personally slighted. I had nothing to do with that. I actually have talked with him on the phone. I think if anything, he just wants an apology. He wants the company to be clear about things. You know, it was just convoluted in the past. You know, the BS of the lithium mine, none of that's happening anymore. It's, you know, if anything, I'll wake up every day and tweet, I only have bad news for you. You know, nobody really wants to hear that, so I tend to not do that. But when I have good news, that is the no shitter. When I have good news, I'm going to be so excited to tell the world about it. Okay, 3 new messages. Yeah, I'll always be transparent. Like I said, the investors relations department is going to happen. It's going to be a real easy to understand and interrelate with, communicate with manner and get answers to questions. I'm going to put a lot of information there. I like to use flow charts. So I'm going to start doing flow charts, which are easy to understand about things like the path forward. It'll show time, cost, where we are, where we're going. Just bam, here's the information. And then if people want details, which of course they will, they simply ask me. Okay, we've got 2 minutes left. So in summary, thanks for coming. You're going to get an AI transcript of this. I'm going to have a type, I'll do another Zoom at the latest in 1 week, and I'm going to put the word out, and we'll probably have at least 100 attendees to that. I'll have an agenda, so it'll be a much more organized fashion. People can help me with that, give me input as to what they want to discuss. And at any point in time, you can always email me. That's the best way to communicate with me. I check my emails constantly. I'll always respond. For some reason, I don't respond in a timely manner. It's because I just haven't gotten to it. But I work 7 days a week at this. It doesn't matter what time I'm up and, you know, running constantly. Yeah, keep community update as well for confirmation of events. Absolutely. Very, very important to do. That's why I'm glad that I'm on Twitter. I had to really negotiate with the attorney about that. Attorneys hate Twitter because they're really, really worried about the pump and dump. With the SEC, you cannot promote, you cannot pump a stock. You cannot say things like, we're going to knock it out of the park. Our earnings are going to be great. I think the stock's going to go to this. That's a big no-no. So you really want to keep things even keeled and plain Jane. Well, how in God's name are you supposed to sell anything? That's the thing that's very challenging. So I do read all the investor boards. I've just been instructed, do not ever respond. But I'm on Investors Hub all the time. I love that thing. I do get shredded on that. I don't take it personally. Send me feedback, please, what you want done with the company. the more you can publicize it, like on Twitter or on Investors Hub, the more people will know. I will get it done to the best of my ability. Okay, everybody, thanks for your time.